I always believed marriage was built on trust. That's what I told myself for 15 years as I shared a home, a life, and dreams with Ryan Carter. He was the kind of man who commanded attention when he walked into a room, charming and ambitious, qualities that once made me fall in love with him. But in recent months, something had shifted. It started as small, almost imperceptible changes, a locked drawer in his office, whispered phone calls that ended abruptly when I entered the room, and an unexplained tension that hung in the air like an unspoken secret. I told myself I was imagining things. That's what a good wife does, right? She trusts her husband. Then, one evening, reality shattered that illusion. I was in the kitchen making dinner when Ryan came home later than usual. His tie was loosened, his sleeves rolled up, but he barely looked at me as he tossed his keys onto the counter. He went straight to the fridge, grabbed a beer, and muttered something about a long day. I decided not to pry. He hated when I questioned his mood. Instead, I cleared my throat and asked something simple. "Hey, I was looking for our insurance papers today. Do you know where they are?" The moment the words left my lips, I saw it. A flicker of something dark in his eyes. He hesitated just a beat too long before taking a slow sip of his beer. "What do you need them for?" I forced a casual shrug. "Just organizing files. I couldn't find them in the cabinet." He turned, leaning against the counter with a practiced ease that no longer felt reassuring. "They're probably just misplaced. I'll check later." I nodded, but my stomach churned. I had checked every drawer, every folder in the house. The documents weren't just misplaced, they were gone. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling while Ryan slept soundly beside me. The weight of suspicion pressed down on my chest. It wasn't just the insurance papers. Other things had been disappearing too. Our joint bank account statements, the deed to our summer cottage, even our tax returns from the last 2 years. At first, I chalked it up to my own disorganization, but now I wasn't so sure. The next morning, I made a decision. I needed answers. With Ryan gone for the day, I went into his office, my heart pounding in my ears. His desk was pristine, almost too perfect, like a staged photo in a real estate ad. I pulled at the locked drawer, unsurprised when it didn't budge. But I had been married to Ryan long enough to know his habits. He wasn't as careful as he thought. I went to his closet and dug into the pocket of his spare suit jacket. My fingers closed around cold metal. His office key. My breath hitched as I turned it in the lock. The drawer slid open, revealing neatly stacked files. I scanned the labels: bank transfers, investment portfolios, mortgage details. My eyes landed on one document stamped with a date from 3 months ago. My hands trembled as I pulled it out. A second mortgage, on our house, taken out without my knowledge. The room spun. I gripped the edge of the desk, trying to steady myself. This wasn't a mistake. This was intentional. And then another file caught my eye. It was thin, but when I opened it, my blood turned to ice. A life insurance policy. On me, worth $2 million. I stared at the paper, my mind struggling to piece together what it meant. I knew couples took out policies on each other all the time. But why had he done this in secret? And why, out of everything, was this one document perfectly preserved while others had vanished? A sharp knock at the front door jolted me from my thoughts. I scrambled to close the drawer, shoving the papers back into place just as the doorbell rang again. My pulse raced as I made my way to the door, every nerve in my body screaming that something was wrong. When I opened it, a man in a charcoal gray suit stood there, holding a sleek leather briefcase. His smile was polished, professional. "Mrs. Carter?" "Yes?" My voice was barely above a whisper. "My name is Mark Ellison," he said smoothly, handing me a card. "Private investigator. I believe we have a common interest, your husband. The world around me seemed to tilt as I stared at the card in my hand. My fingers curled around it, the sharp edges biting into my palm. I had thought I was one step ahead, but as I met Mark's knowing gaze, I realized this was much bigger than I had imagined. Part 2. Unraveling the truth. Mark Ellison's card felt heavier than it should have, the ink pressed deep into the textured surface. My fingers trembled as I turned it over, my mind racing. A private investigator? Had Ryan hired him to follow me? Or was there something even worse lurking beneath the surface? I think you'll want to hear what I have to say, Mark said, his voice calm but firm. May I come in? I hesitated, glancing toward the staircase where Ryan's office sat, its secrets still pulsing in the back of my mind. Letting a stranger into my home felt reckless, but something about the way he looked at me, patient yet certain, told me that whatever he knew, it was something I couldn't afford to ignore. I stepped aside. Make it quick. Mark walked in, his gaze sweeping over the space, absorbing details like he was cataloging evidence. He didn't waste time. I was hired to investigate your husband, he began, setting his briefcase on the coffee table. Not by you, though. Someone else wanted to know what he's been up to. My stomach lurched. Who? Mark hesitated, choosing his words carefully. That's confidential. But what I can tell you is that whoever it was suspected Ryan was hiding assets, setting up offshore accounts, and potentially planning something far more sinister. He met my gaze. Mrs. Carter, do you have any reason to believe your husband wants you gone? The question sent a chill down my spine. I thought of the life insurance policy, the missing documents, the second mortgage on our house, the lies. I wanted to say no, to dismiss the idea as absurd, but the words caught in my throat. Mark saw my hesitation and nodded. That's what I thought. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a stack of neatly bound documents. He flipped through them, stopping at a page filled with bank transactions. Ryan has been moving money out of your joint accounts for the last 18 months, small transfers at first, then larger ones, each routed through different shell companies. These funds are untraceable to you now. My breath hitched. Why would he do that? Mark turned the page. Because he doesn't want you to have anything when he leaves. The words settled over me like a heavy weight, suffocating, undeniable. Ryan had been planning this for over a year, maneuvering behind my back to cut me out of my own life. My hands curled into fists. How had I been so blind? But Mark wasn't done. That's not the worst part, he said, his voice lowering. He slid another document toward me. This is a contract with a private security firm. A few weeks ago, Ryan paid them a significant sum for surveillance. I frowned. Surveillance of what? Mark's expression darkened. You. A cold, invisible hand gripped my throat. He's had you followed, Mark continued. Everywhere you go, everything you do, he knows about it. Your shopping trips, your visits to the bank, even your lunches with your sister. He's been documenting your movements, and based on some of the notes we found, it looks like he's been trying to build a case against you. A case? My voice cracked. Mark nodded grimly. He's setting you up, Mrs. Carter. If he can paint you as emotionally unstable or financially irresponsible, he'll have leverage in court, maybe even grounds to claim full control over your shared assets. He wants to leave you with nothing. The room spun. I pressed a hand to my forehead, trying to steady myself. This can't be happening. Mark's expression softened. I know this is overwhelming, but you need to act fast. I don't know what his endgame is, but with the level of preparation he's put into this, you don't have much time. I swallowed hard, my mind spinning with everything I'd just learned. My husband, the man I had built a life with, hadn't just checked out of our marriage. He had systematically planned my downfall. And if Mark was right, he wasn't done yet. I took a shaky breath and forced myself to look at the man sitting across from me. What do I do? Mark studied me for a moment before sliding a small envelope across the table. Take this. I opened it, my breath hitching at what I saw, an address, a burner phone, and a key. This is your lifeline, he said. Pack a bag with only the essentials. Don't use your credit cards. Don't call anyone on your regular phone. As far as Ryan is concerned, you disappear. Disappear. The word sent a shiver through me. Could I do it? Could I walk away without looking back? I thought of the cold calculation in Ryan's eyes, the way he had dismissed my questions, the sheer betrayal of it all. Yes, I could, and I would. I clenched my jaw, my heart pounding with something I hadn't felt in months, determination. Ryan thought he had control over me. He thought he had me backed into a corner. But he was wrong. Because now I had a plan. Part 3. The disappearance begins. I moved through the house with silent precision, my heart pounding in my ears. Every step felt like a countdown, every breath a reminder that I was walking a razor-thin line between escape and disaster. Mark's warning echoed in my head. Ryan knows everything. That meant I had no time to waste. I grabbed the suitcase I had stashed in the back of my closet, the one I had packed in secret after finding that second mortgage notice. Back then, I thought I was just being paranoid. Now, it was my lifeline. Clothes, toiletries, cash, just enough to disappear. The burner phone Mark had given me sat like a stone in my pocket. Downstairs, the grandfather clock chimed 9. I had exactly 1 hour before Ryan got home. I rushed to the kitchen, wiping down surfaces, erasing any sign of my departure. The last thing I needed was for him to notice something was off the second he walked in. As I reached for my purse, my hands shook. Could I really do this? Could I just walk away from the life I had built for the past 15 years? Then I saw it. Ryan's wedding ring sitting on the kitchen counter. It wasn't the first time he'd taken it off. Lately, it had become a habit, one he didn't even try to hide. A meeting, a business trip, a late night at the office. The evidence had been in front of me all along, and I had been too blind to see it. Anger surged through me, steadying my hands. Yes, I could do this. I had to. I took one last look around the house before stepping toward the door. And then my phone buzzed. Ryan. My blood turned to ice. I hesitated for a split second before declining the call. I couldn't risk hearing his voice, couldn't let him manipulate me into staying. But as I turned the doorknob, another message appeared on the screen. Where are you? I stared at the words, dread creeping up my spine. It was a simple text, but something about it felt off. Did he already know? Had he somehow figured out what I was planning? I had no time to wonder. I shoved my phone into my purse, grabbed my suitcase, and walked out. The night air was sharp and cold, wrapping around me as I stepped onto the porch. Mark's instructions were clear. I had to be unpredictable. No flights, no obvious destinations. Just get in the car and drive. I climbed into my sedan and started the engine, my fingers gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. As I pulled out of the driveway, my stomach twisted with a mixture of fear and adrenaline. This was it. I was leaving. But then, headlights flooded my rearview mirror. A car had pulled up behind me. My breath caught in my throat. Was it Ryan? Had he come home early? No, Mark had told me that Ryan had a dinner meeting tonight, but that didn't mean he hadn't sent someone to follow me. I turned onto the main road, my pulse hammering. The car stayed behind me, its presence a dark shadow in my periphery. I took a sharp right. It followed. Panic clawed at my chest. Was I already too late? Mark had warned me that Ryan had people watching. I just hadn't expected it to happen so soon. I reached for the burner phone and dialed the number Mark had given me. The call connected on the first ring. "Talk to me." Mark's voice came through, steady and calm. "I think someone's following me." A pause. Then, "Where are you?" I rattled off the street name, my hands shaking. "They've been on my tail since I left the house." "Don't go home," Mark instructed. "Drive to the safe house. I'll have someone meet you there." I swallowed hard. And if they follow me there, then we'll know exactly what we're dealing with. A chill ran down my spine. There was no turning back now. I gritted my teeth and pressed the gas pedal. Whatever Ryan had planned, he was about to find out that I wasn't as easy to erase as he thought. Part 4. The Trap Tightens. I kept my grip steady on the wheel, but my mind raced with possibilities. Who was following me? Was it Ryan himself or someone working for him? The car stayed behind me, keeping just enough distance to avoid suspicion but never far enough to disappear. I checked the mirror again. Black sedan, tinted windows, no visible driver. My heartbeat quickened. They weren't just following me. They were tracking me. I had to think fast. If I led them straight to the safe house, I'd be walking into a trap. But if I panicked, if I made the wrong move, this could end before it even began. Taking a deep breath, I slowed the car, forcing my pursuer to adjust. The trick was to act natural. If I made it obvious that I knew, I'd lose control of the situation. Mark's voice echoed in my head. "Always have an escape plan." I spotted an upcoming gas station with a convenience store, its flickering neon sign casting a dull glow over the pavement. Perfect. A public place, cameras, witnesses, insurance. I flicked on my blinker and pulled in, keeping my movements smooth, calculated. The black sedan hesitated before following. That was all the confirmation I needed. I parked near the entrance, grabbed my phone, and stepped out. The cold night air bit at my skin, but I barely noticed. I needed to see them. Who was I dealing with? I walked inside, forcing myself to breathe normally. The store smelled of stale coffee and gasoline, the aisles nearly empty. A bored-looking clerk scrolled through his phone at the register, barely acknowledging my presence. Through the glass, I watched as the black sedan pulled up. The driver's door opened slowly, deliberately. Whoever it was, they weren't in a rush. They were confident. I pretended to browse the snack aisle, my pulse thrumming in my ears. What's the next move? Wait and see, or make a break for it? Then, the bell above the door jingled. I kept my back turned, pretending to examine a row of protein bars. The footsteps were heavy, measured, male, tall. I stole a glance in the reflection of the fridge door. Not Ryan, someone else. The man was in his mid-40s, stocky build, wearing a dark jacket. His eyes scanned the store before landing on me. A shiver ran down my spine. He wasn't lost. He was looking for me. I had seconds to decide. I reached for my phone, pretending to check messages, and dialed Mark. The man stepped closer. "Kelly Wright." My stomach clenched. He knew my name. I turned slowly, feigning confusion. "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Number, but I know your husband." My blood ran cold. Mark answered on the first ring. "Talk to me." I kept my voice light, controlled. "Hey, I'm just grabbing something at a gas station off Route 7. A pause. "I think I left my keys in the car." There was silence on the other end. Then Mark's tone sharpened. "Stay where you are. I'm sending someone." The man took another step forward, lowering his voice. "Your husband wants to talk." I forced a laugh, shifting on my feet. If Ryan wants to talk, he has my number. The man's expression darkened. He thought you might need some encouragement. I knew what was coming before he even moved. His hand reached for something in his jacket. A gun? A phone? I wasn't about to wait and find out. I grabbed a can from the shelf and threw it at his face. It wasn't elegant, but it was enough. He flinched, cursing, and I bolted. The clerk shouted as I sprinted for the exit, my heart hammering against my ribs. I shoved the door open, my breath coming in short gasps. My car was 10 feet away. Just get to the car, get to safety. Behind me, I heard the man recover, his footsteps quick and angry. I yanked open the driver's side door and threw myself inside. My fingers fumbled with the keys as I heard him shout. "Kelly, stop!" The engine roared to life. The moment he lunged for the door, I slammed my foot on the gas. The tires screeched against the pavement as I tore out of the parking lot, adrenaline surging through my veins. My hands were shaking, my breath ragged, but I didn't stop. I needed to disappear. I needed to survive, and I wasn't going to let Ryan win. Part 5. The breaking point. The road ahead was dark, an endless stretch of asphalt, with only the glow of my headlights cutting through the night. My hands were tight on the wheel, my pulse still hammering from the encounter at the gas station. The man, Ryan's man, had come prepared. He knew my name. He wasn't there to threaten me. He was there to bring me back. That wasn't going to happen. I checked the rearview mirror. No headlights, no sign of pursuit. But that didn't mean I was safe. Ryan wasn't the type to send just one guy. He played chess, always thinking several moves ahead. That meant he'd already set another trap. I just didn't know where yet. Mark's voice crackled through the car speaker. "Kelly, talk to me. What the hell just happened?" I exhaled sharply, forcing my voice to steady. "Ryan sent someone. He followed me, cornered me at the gas station." A pause. Then Mark's voice darkened. "Did he touch you?" "No, but he wanted me to go with him. I got away, but I don't think this is over." I swallowed hard, gripping the wheel. "Ryan knows I'm filing for full disclosure. He's desperate, Mark. If we push him too hard, I don't know what he'll do. Which is why we don't let up." Mark's tone was firm, unwavering. "We have enough to bury him. The offshore accounts, the shell companies, and now attempted coercion. This is exactly why we went to the judge in the first place. He's slipping, Kelly. He knows he's losing." "But that makes him dangerous," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Silence. Then a quiet sigh from Mark. "Yeah, it does." I forced myself to breathe, to focus on the road. The city lights were coming into view, blinking in the distance like scattered fireflies. I was almost to Elaine's apartment, my temporary safe house. But something felt off. It was too easy. I scanned the road again. Nothing. But my instincts screamed at me. I tightened my grip on the wheel, my knuckles white. "Mark, what if he's not following me because he's already there?" Mark cursed under his breath. "Don't go inside. Pull into a public lot. I'll send someone to check the place." But I was already too close. My apartment building loomed ahead, lights on in the windows. I squinted. Was Elaine awake, or was someone else inside? My stomach twisted. I slowed the car, my heart slamming against my ribs. Then I saw it, a figure in the window. Not Elaine, someone taller, broader. Ryan. I stopped breathing. Mark's voice was sharp in my ear. "Kelly? What's wrong?" "He's here," I whispered. "He's inside." Silence. Then Mark's voice turned to steel. "Get out, now!" But I couldn't move. I just sat there, staring at the man who had once been my husband. The man who had lied to me, stolen from me, tried to erase me. And now he was waiting for me. My breath came in sharp bursts. I had two options: run or finish this. I reached into the glove compartment, my fingers closing around the cool weight of the burner phone Rita had given me. I dialed her number. "Rita, he's here." She didn't hesitate. "Stay in the car. I'm sending people now." But I wasn't staying. I had spent months running, hiding, watching my life unravel while Ryan pulled the strings. No more. I stepped out of the car. Ryan didn't move from the window. He just stood there, waiting, like he already knew I was coming. I took a deep breath and walked toward the door. It was time to end this. Part 6. The Confrontation. The moment I stepped inside the building, I knew I had made a mistake. The air was too still, too quiet, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. The only sound was the low hum of the hallway lights flickering above me. My pulse pounded in my ears as I forced myself to keep moving, my fingers brushing against the cool surface of my phone in my pocket. Ryan was waiting for me. He wanted this. The elevator dinged softly, and I hesitated for only a second before stepping in. Don't show fear. Don't give him the satisfaction. The doors closed. I could see my reflection in the metal, my own eyes staring back at me, dark, determined, unshaken. But inside, my stomach was twisting. Stay in control, Kelly. The elevator doors slid open to my floor, and the hallway stretched before me, eerily empty. The lights from Elaine's apartment glowed from under the door. He was inside. I forced my steps to stay even, my breath slow and steady. Every instinct screamed at me to turn around, to run, but I clenched my fists and pushed forward. "This ends tonight." I reached the door. It was unlocked, of course. A trap. Slowly, I pushed it open. Ryan was sitting on the couch, one arm draped casually over the back, his expression unreadable. He looked relaxed, but I wasn't fooled. He was a man who had just lost everything. That made him the most dangerous version of himself. Elaine wasn't here. That was a small relief. "Kelly?" His voice was smooth, practiced, as if this was just another one of his business meetings, not a forced intrusion into my life. I didn't respond. I stepped inside, keeping my back to the door. An easy exit. Always have an out. He tilted his head, studying me. "You've been busy." "You shouldn't be here," I said evenly, refusing to let him see the unease curling in my gut. He let out a short laugh, shaking his head. "You think you've won, don't you? You think your little legal tricks and your pathetic team of lawyers are going to keep you safe?" I crossed my arms. "They already have." His jaw tightened just for a second. A crack in the mask, then he smiled again, leaning forward. "You know what I realized, Kelly? You never really knew me. You thought you did, but you only saw what I let you see." He stood, taking a slow step toward me. I was always 5 steps ahead, always smarter, always in control. I didn't move. "Except now," I said quietly. The smile dropped. His eyes darkened. "You think you're in control?" His voice was low, sharp. "You're not. You've never been. You're just playing a role in a game you don't understand." I clenched my jaw, my heart hammering against my ribs. "Then why are you here, Ryan? If you've already won, why come back?" He exhaled sharply through his nose, his fingers flexing at his sides. "Because I don't like losing." I watched his every movement, my body tensed. He was coiled, barely holding himself together. "Then get used to it," I said, my voice unwavering. His expression flickered. He took another step closer. And then, a knock. Both of us froze. I knew who it was. Ryan's eyes flicked to the door, his muscles tensing. He took a breath, composing himself. The moment of power shifted. He wasn't expecting this. Another knock, firm, unshaken. Ryan exhaled, his jaw tightening. Then, without another word, he brushed past me, walking toward the door. He knew. The second he opened it, Mark was there, and behind him, 2 uniformed officers. Ryan's shoulders squared, his jaw twitched, but he didn't resist. He simply turned to me, his lips curling into something between a sneer and a smirk. "This isn't over," he said softly. But it was, because for the first time in years, I was free.
Part 7. The Final Move. I watched as the officers escorted Ryan out of Elaine's apartment, his steps slow and deliberate, his face unreadable. Even in handcuffs, he still carried that air of control, as if he were the one letting this happen, rather than being dragged into the inevitable. His eyes flicked back to me one last time, a smirk ghosting over his lips before he disappeared down the hallway. The door shut behind them. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Elaine emerged from the kitchen, her face pale but determined. "It's really over?" she asked. I nodded, but deep down, I wasn't sure. Ryan had always been 5 steps ahead, always had a contingency plan. The fact that he had walked out of here without a fight, without so much as a last desperate grasp for control, made my skin crawl. He wasn't the type to go down quietly, which meant this wasn't over. Not yet. The next few days passed in a blur of legal meetings and depositions. Marie was relentless, cutting through every lie, every excuse Ryan's team tried to throw at her. The evidence was undeniable: hidden assets, offshore accounts, fraudulent business deals. Every thread unraveled under pressure, exposing more of Ryan's carefully constructed empire of deception. I should have felt victorious, but something kept gnawing at me. Then the email came. It was late, nearly midnight. I had been lying awake in Elaine's guest room, staring at the ceiling, when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. The moment I saw the sender's name, a cold chill spread through me. Ryan. I hesitated for only a second before opening it. "You think you've won. You think you've taken everything from me. But you underestimated me, Kelly. You always did. You should have played nice. Should have left well enough alone. Now I have nothing to lose. And when a man has nothing to lose, he becomes truly dangerous. Sleep well." The blood drained from my face. I sat up, gripping the phone so tightly my fingers ached. My pulse pounded in my ears, my breath coming too fast. Elaine. I needed to wake her up. I needed to... Another buzz, a second email. This time it was an image. My apartment. Not as I had left it, but destroyed. Glass shattered, furniture overturned, papers scattered across the floor. My breath hitched as I noticed something else. Spray painted across the wall in angry, jagged letters. "You took everything. Now I will." My stomach twisted. This wasn't just a threat. This was a promise. I stumbled out of bed, nearly tripping over the blankets as I rushed to Elaine's room. She sat up the second she saw my face. "What is it?" she asked, her voice thick with sleep and concern. I handed her the phone. She read the message, her face paling. Then she scrolled to the image, her breath catching in her throat. "Oh my God," she whispered. "We need to call Marie," I said, my voice shaking. "We need to call the police." Elaine nodded, already reaching for her own phone. But my mind was spinning, racing through possibilities. Ryan was still in custody. Or was he? I needed confirmation. I needed to know if he was already out, already moving against me. Because if he was, this wasn't just about a divorce anymore. This was war.
This story is more than just a tale of betrayal and revenge. It's a lesson in resilience, in knowing when to fight and when to walk away. Kelly's journey wasn't just about uncovering her husband's lies or fighting for financial justice. It was about reclaiming her life, her identity, and her independence. Too often, we invest in people who don't deserve our loyalty, who take advantage of our trust, and who believe they can manipulate their way out of consequences. But Kelly proved that no matter how carefully someone plots, the truth always catches up. Ryan thought he could control everything: his finances, his marriage, even Kelly's future. But in the end, his arrogance was his downfall. He underestimated the strength of a woman scorned, the power of the law, and the unwavering determination of someone who refuses to be a victim. What do you think? Did Kelly make the right moves? Should she have confronted Ryan sooner? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to hear more real-life cheating stories filled with drama, suspense, and unexpected twists, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Men's Cheating Story, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new episode.